Every time an actor blows up overnight, the internet does what the internet does best. The term industry plant gets thrown around so much now that, it's hard to even know what it means anymore. See, there's levels to this, and let's start with the ones who had it best. Level 1, the organic, discovered at a coffee shop, is fighting for their big break. These are the actors who still need you to believe that they started from nothing. The story has to feel real, the struggle, the audition, the breakthrough. But if you look closer, their studio apartment is in their parents' guest house in the Hollywood Hills. They keep the aesthetics of the struggling artist, but behind the scenes, there was professional representation going on the whole time. Even before you knew their name, artists like Timothée Chalamet, he's incredibly talented, but the whole "I'm just a quirky theater kid who made it" thing, that's not the whole story. What they don't mention is his mother was a former Broadway dancer. His aunt created Party of Five. He grew up in Manhattan around the entertainment industry and was enrolled in LaGuardia High School, literally the fame school. By the time Call Me By Your Name dropped, he'd already been in Interstellar and Homeland. He had representation at CAA, one of the biggest agencies in Hollywood. The setup was already there. Timothée already had deep industry connections from the start. The organic plants. They're the smartest plays because they keep the indie credibility while having major studio resources. But that's not what Level 2 is. Level 2 is the obvious one. And speaking of obvious, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next level. Level 2, the obvious. These are the actors who don't exist one day, and then the next day they're in every major franchise. The push is so aggressive that even casual viewers notice something's off. You see them on magazine covers before they have a filmography, landing superhero roles on their third audition. They're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The actor most people talk about in this category has to be Anya Taylor-Joy. She went from literally unknown to leading major productions in about 18 months. The Witch dropped in January 2016, and by November 2016, she was already in Split. Then The Queen's Gambit in 2020 made her a household name. Her agency is CAA, represented by the same team that handles Charlize Theron and Nicole Kidman. So it's not just the talent, it's the access, and every door being open at the same time. Within 5 years, Anya Taylor-Joy went from unknown to portraying Furiosa in the Mad Max prequel. That velocity doesn't happen by accident. Another one is Tom Holland. His dad was a comedian, his mom a photographer. He trained at the Brit School and was in Billy Elliot in London's West End as a child. The claim is he just got lucky with the Spider-Man audition. But he was already repped and had done the impossible with Naomi Watts. It felt like he was being marketed as the next global superstar out of nowhere. The obvious plant gets pushed so hard that even mainstream audiences can see the machinery at work. But what happens when that machinery doesn't just push you? It reshapes you entirely. That's the puppet. And that's where it gets dark. Level 3, puppet. These are the actors who became what the industry wanted them to be, and not what they wanted to be. The actor we really need to talk about is Zac Efron. If there was ever a person literally bred to be a teen idol, it's Zac. Everything blew up after High School Musical in 2006. Disney marketed him as the perfect all-American boy. Clean-cut, charming, safe for every demographic. They controlled his image down to the smallest detail. The hair, the smile, the wholesome boyfriend energy. That was the product. But his brand shift is where the water gets muddy. He had massive success as the clean-cut musical theater kid, but then came the aggressive rebranding. Neighbors in 2014 turned him into the shirtless frat bro. Baywatch in 2017 pushed it even further. Suddenly, there were steroid rumors and speculation about jaw surgery. His face changed. His body became impossibly shredded. Fans got caught off guard. The thing is, Zac never seemed comfortable with either version. In interviews during his Disney era, he looked scripted and rehearsed. During his party boy phase, he struggled with addiction and checked into rehab in 2013. He admitted later he developed insomnia and depression trying to maintain the physique everyone expected. By 2019, he moved to Australia, stepped back from Hollywood, and started doing nature documentaries. He grew a beard, stopped doing the blockbuster thing, and basically disappeared from the machine that built him. That's the consequence of being molded into something you're not. Eventually, you either break or you run. The puppet gets their strings pulled until they can't take it anymore. Subscribed already? Let's continue. Level 4. The Nepo baby. These actors were in the industry before they were even actors. They grew up on film sets. They had dinner with studio executives. They'll talk about their struggle, their grind, but they had access to coaches, agents, auditions, trust funds. They could fail as much as they want and still get another shot. The Nepo baby has mommy and daddy to give them every opportunity. Failure is not possible. Jaden and Willow Smith were destined before they were even born. Jaden got cast in The Pursuit of Happiness at 8 because his dad Will Smith was the lead. Then he took a break because it was too stressful. Later came back with After Earth. He could experiment with fashion, music, philosophy, whatever he wanted because failing had no consequence. Now, the next Nepo baby might surprise you, but yes, Dakota Johnson is a Nepo baby, extremely talented. But let's meet the family. Her mom, Melanie Griffith, got an Oscar nomination. Melanie's mother, Tippi Hedren, was Hitchcock's muse and starred in The Birds. Her dad, Don Johnson, was the lead in Miami Vice. Her stepdad was Antonio Banderas. Dakota did teen movies in tiny roles through her early 20s. When those didn't break through, she had the connections to keep auditioning until 50 Shades of Grey happened. Started from the bottom, doesn't apply here. The bottom was 3 generations of Hollywood royalty, but the most successful and possibly the saddest of them all is level 5, the Superplant. The Superplant is as close to a robot as you can get. They don't choose their roles. They don't choose their image. They show up, perform the role, and collect a percentage. Most started from childhood and development programs. People control what they eat, what they say, their whole life becomes content. And sadly, they're the ones with the most trauma and mental health issues. The most modern example of this is Millie Bobby Brown. She was cast in Stranger Things at 11 years old in 2016. Within months, she became one of the most famous children on the planet. Netflix knew what they had. By 12, she was doing press tours, magazine covers, and brand deals. She signed with IMG Models at 13. Launched her own beauty line, Florence by Mills, at 15. Became a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador at 14. Her entire adolescence was scheduled, photographed, and monetized. Every red carpet appearance analyzed, every boyfriend scrutinized. She couldn't be a normal teenager because her childhood was intellectual property. She's talked openly about how invasive it was, how she had no privacy, how grown adults sexualized her online when she was still a minor. By 19, she was engaged and seemed desperate to grow up fast. That's what happens when your childhood is a product. You skip it entirely. The Superplant doesn't get to develop naturally. They're packaged, promoted, and pushed until there's nothing left that feels real. But the most tragic example is still Judy Garland. When Judy was signed to MGM at 13 in 1935, it was an all-star training camp. Mickey Rooney, Elizabeth Taylor, all kids being groomed for stardom. Judy could sing beautifully, but they controlled everything about her body and appearance. Louis B. Mayer allegedly called her his little hunchback and put her on diet pills and amphetamines to keep her weight down and energy up. They wanted to keep that girl next door, wholesome Dorothy vibe, but were drugging her and working her to exhaustion. By her prime adult years, she'd been in the industry so long under brutal conditions that she was already battling addiction and mental health crises. She got married 5 times, struggled with alcohol and prescription drugs. She died at 47 from an accidental barbiturate overdose. The constant pressure of being one of the most famous people on the planet under the studio system completely took over and destroyed her. At the end of the day, the Superplant pretty much has no control. Now, there's quite a few actors I didn't get a chance to talk about in the video, so let me know in the comments who you think is an industry plant that I didn't mention. And if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and check out our next one, Most Hated versus Most Loved Actors of All Time, for the full breakdown on Hollywood's most controversial and beloved stars. I'll catch you over there. Until next time, peace.